Well, let's just go straight to Birmingham, where we've got Tom Harwood waiting for us. Tom, what's happening?
That's right, Dawn. I'm live at the GB News studio at the Reform Party conference with one of their MPs, their chief whip. It's a man many people will know, a man in demand at this party conference, I have to say. Lee Anderson joins me now. Lee, thanks for sparing some of your time. I mean, you've been like a rock star at this conference, quite frankly.
I think aging rock star, Tom, would be the correct term. But no, there's a great buzz about the place. I mean, last year was brilliant. I think we've taken this conference to another level this year. The amount of enthusiasm all around the place is something I've never witnessed before in politics.
I mean, it is fair to say this is the largest, most professional party conference that Reform has put on. But here's the question. If we're going to go along with this sort of idea that there could be an election in 2027, something I don't think either of us really believe, if we're going to go along with that, is this a party that's really ready for government?
Well, are the other two parties ready, Tom? Look at the track record over the past 20-odd years, the last 14 years, especially of the Tory government, the last year of the Labour government. Have they been ready for government? I think not. They're making a complete disaster of this country. So look, yeah, there's a lot of work to do, we know that. But just look how far we've come in the last year. This time last year when we did this conference, you was there, you interviewed me, we had 80,000 members. This weekend we have 241,000 members. We have nearly 900 councillors. We control 10 councils. We have the majority on 12 county councils around the country. We have 2 elected mayors.
Or the plurality.
Well, yeah, and we're growing and growing at a rate that's never been seen before for a political party in this country. So yeah, give us another 2 or 3 years, mate, and we'll be ready.
Right, no one can take away from the fact that Reform has a huge number of members. You've been ahead in, I think it's over 100 opinion polls now in a row, but we still don't know who your Chancellor would be were you to be elected. We don't know who your Foreign Secretary would be, your Home Secretary.
Yeah, well, I think Nigel's been quite clear on this. If you've been paying attention, young man, he has said that he will get the brightest and the best from around the country in their specialised field. Doesn't have to be an elected member of Parliament to be a cabinet member. But if we could draw somebody from the health service or from education or from the finance sector, whatever, who's really good at their job,
we don't
then why not?
But you're putting yourself forward. This whole conference is talking about preparing for government. You're setting up within the party a department for the preparation of government. And you keep saying these sort of theoretical ideas
it's not
of who
theoretical,
we could
Tony.
have,
but
we don't have the people.
Well, at the moment, I was in the breakfast lines this morning with some of our donors and people from business. These are people from all over the UK that's been involved in business, involved in the financial sector, whatever. They're wanting to get involved. These are clever men who know how to make a quid or two.
Now, when are we going to see this? Because, of course, there are elections next year. Yeah. I mean, in a matter of months, Scotland and Wales go to vote. Especially in Wales, Reform could end up in government.
Yeah, well, this is
we don't even know who's leading the Reform Party in Wales.
Not yet, you don't, Tom, but we're getting ready for the Senate elections next year in Wales, obviously the Scottish elections. I've got a feeling that in Wales we can actually win the Senate, and we're interviewing candidates now, we're speaking to people in Wales. Obviously we're not going to broadcast every single thing that we're doing in Wales, but we're making a lot of momentum. I should be down there for a by-election in the next few weeks. I think we've got one in Caerphilly. Yeah. I should be going down there to campaign in that by-election. The momentum in Wales, especially South Wales, is fantastic. Look, we're a growing party, we're evolving. Will there be casualties on the way? Probably. Will we find some golden nuggets? Probably. I'm confident, mate. And it doesn't matter, Tom. You talk about not prepared or being ready for government. Could we seriously make a bigger hash of this country as the two parties at the moment? Probably not.
It does seem that is the reason why Reform has sort of risen so high in the polls. I sit and I watch Prime Minister's Questions every week, and you see Kemi Badenoch on one side throwing bombs at Keir Starmer, saying you're running the country into the ground, and then Keir Starmer goes back to Kemi Badenoch saying you ran the country into the ground, and in the corner somewhere on the back benches, you four are there chuckling, thinking these guys are taking each other out.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
But is there anything positive that you're saying? Okay, you're riding off the negativity of the two largest parties in the House of Commons. But what is the positive reason for voting for reform?
Well, nothing works in this country, Tom. You've seen the state
That's
of
a very negative thing to say.
But it's true. People are fed up with the state of the schools, the roads, the borders. We've got a police force that's not doing the job. We've got a judiciary that's not doing the job. People are just fed up with every single part of public life in this country that does not work, and the two main parties have broken this, and they do nothing about it. And I think it's a bit rich when you see the Tories there. You see some of the Tories, you see people like Rob Jenrick. I've got a lot of time for, by the way, out there putting flags up, banging on about hotels being open. This is the party that opened the hotels. I was in that party. I was screaming from the rooftops, behind closed doors to stop opening the hotels. They told me to shut up. But they're not shutting up now, are they? I see some of the Tory MPs now, who I'm quite furious with, to be honest, would never mention the hotels. Never mention the hotels. Just tell me to shut up. This is the wet Liberals.
But we've seen,
Tom, listen, it's important.
Look at the Bell Hotel.
These same MPs now they've got a hotel in their patch. What are they doing?
But look at the Bell Hotel in Epping.
Yeah.
It was open when the big wave came in 2023. Yes. It was closed. It was reopened then under this government.
Yep.
I mean, I think it was a third of these hotels were closed at the time of the general election. They were being closed. And of course, you well remember the saga of the Rwanda plan.
Yes, I remember it well.
To say that the previous government didn't sort of want to stop the boats or try to stop the boats.
They didn't want to stop the boats.
Is that not a misnomer?
When that aeroplane was on the tarmac, I think it was 3 years ago now, with some of the asylum seekers on, if Rishi had sent that off, this problem would have been stopped.
There was an injunction.
Doesn't matter, should have ignored it.
There was an emergency injunction.
Listen, Tom, we need to grow a backbone in this country. We had successive governments who lacked the political will and courage to sort out this problem. Meanwhile, we've got supposedly asylum seekers. Let's remember, they're illegal migrants pretending to be asylum seekers. They're roaming our streets. They're costing the taxpayer 41 grand a year. Some are going on to commit horrific crimes, sexual attacks. We've had murders and acts of terror. What the hell are we playing at as a country?
I think there won't be a single person watching who disagrees with what you say.
Yeah.
The question is, how do you fix it? And the question that I started that with is saying everyone can see the arguments that things aren't working in this country, that the negative arguments, but what's the positive argument?
Listen, the lefty liberal press in America was saying the same thing about Donald Trump before he got elected. He's reduced illegal migration by 97%.
Well, he had a policy. He said build a wall.
We've got a policy. If you'd listened to Nigel yesterday, I'm sure you did.
I did.
I know you'd been on the pop on Thursday night or whenever it was, but if you listened to Nigel, he actually said that when illegal migrants come to this country, they will be immediately detained. They will be put in a camp, and the only time that they leave that camp will be on a plane or a boat to another country. I tell you what, Tom, after a week or so, they'll stop coming.
Now, I've got to ask you, Keir Starmer yesterday changed the conversation. Everyone was talking about Angela Rayner's shock resignation, and he perhaps some were less shocked than others. But the Prime Minister, some might argue, acted decisively, changed the narrative, turned it into a story about a reshuffle that perhaps was not so long planned, but perhaps some in Number 10 pretended it was long planned. That really changed the media narrative. Are you worried that Number 10 is learning now? That there are actually some competent people there in Number 10, and that they've been able to sort of change the narrative from a negative story for them fairly quickly?
No, I don't think there's any common sense in there at all, Tom. I mean, it's only last Wednesday at PMQs that Sir Keir Starmer was praising her, proud to be sat beside her in the Commons. 3 days later, she's gone. She's slung her up.
Final question. Shabana Mahmood, the new Home Secretary. People in the Labour Party say she's very competent. What do you make of her? What do you reckon?
I don't really know her, to be honest, but I know in the past she's been out on these demonstrations, hasn't she, with the waving the old Free Palestine flag. She's one of these cabinet ministers that signed about, I think it was 2 or 3 years back, we had a deportation flight to Jamaica. She was one of the Labour MPs that signed the letter to stop rapists and murderers being deported to the homeland, and this is a woman now who's in charge of the nation's security. It's an absolute joke, and the people out there aren't buying it.
Well, Lee Anderson, thanks so much for sparing some of your time here. I know that you've got many selfies to take, many fringe events to go and speak at, but thanks indeed for joining us live here on GB News. Back to you, Dawn.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you very much,
Dawn,
Lee.
Actually, before you go,
yes.
you told me something. You asked me something
Yes.
in our last conversation. You asked, could I get you a T-shirt? And I've done you one better, Dawn. I've got you a signed T-shirt. So here you go.
Brilliant.
For Reform FC. This is the shirt. I never let you down, Dawn.
Thank you very much.
Signed by the party leader, Nigel Farage. I thought you'd want to see it.
Thank you. I was asking you to model it, actually. Don't try and get out of it now. And plus, it's Man City colours, and I'm a West Ham fan, so it's never going to happen.